Hello my lovelies, welcome back to the channel. I have blonder hair. I can announce that on a proper video this time. I just want to thank you all for those who have been supporting me, so thank you very much. And today I'd like to talk about sexual orientation and how I've kind of been developing as I transition, because it's quite an interesting one for sure. So back in the old days where I was but a wee lad, okay, wee lad, yeah, I was romantically and sexually interested in girls. I had no interest at all for any kind of male relationship, and always thought that in my head throughout the entire time before I transitioned. And even during transition, I still had that kind of process. But, here it comes. We all know that is probably not the case anymore. Have you heard of these, by the way? You know, to help with the down there, if you need a bit more of a rounder down there. I'll leave a link in the description. I won't tell. So yeah, as I grew up, I had no interest in guys. Even when like my friends who were guys would even touch me in like just a sort of like even touch my leg or something like that just to wind me up, I would cringe and I didn't like it. I just wasn't wired in that way. With guys at all, and that kind of stuck with me for a very long time. As I kind of progressed myself to get towards transitioning, I also went to a sperm bank, or gamete storage if you will, basically just in case I wanted to have children. They would take various tests from you just to make sure that you don't have a specific STDs. But there are also optional ones as well, so that if you did want to have a surrogate mother, then you'd have to do some optional STD checks as well, just in case, basically, otherwise you can't do that. I never opted basically to take the extra test just because I was so adamant that I was going to have a female partner and female partners only. Now I am kind of considering that I should probably go do that at some point, because yeah, my mind is going in a completely different direction right now. But yeah, I just never thought I would ever need it, because I just thought I would only want a female partner, and if I didn't have a female partner, then it's no partner. But if I did have a partner, then they would be biologically female, and then I would just, you know, have my children that way. So it's very interesting to see how that's kind of changed in my head. My mindset has completely gone different. But as I kind of made my way into basically starting HRT about 13 months ago, with not the knowledge I have now, because I now have this different mindset, but I was still pretty much thinking I would be into girls. I still like girls, but I have a slightly potent interest in guys. I continued online dating for female partners only, but slowly, as my transition progressed, I slowly started developing these kind of fantasies, if you will, where I kind of wanted to have one-offs with men, basically, to explore these kind of thought processes in my head. Basically just to, yeah, explore, experiment. And the further I progressed in my transition, the more and more these desires and wanting to experiment and try out these new things grew more and more in my head. And eventually it became so constant that now I think I want a boyfriend. Or at least regular dating with a guy to see how far it goes and see if something develops, and like, you know, see if that's something I actually want. Because for all I know, I don't know if I want a boyfriend still, but I want one, but I don't know if that's truly what I want. I need to kind of find out for myself, because I'm basically a big virgin to any type of dating with a guy. I've never been kissed by a guy, I never held a hand with a guy, I've never even been taken on a date by a guy. So I'm just saying, she wants the D, basically. It's a very bizarre thing how my brain has kind of wired this way, and it's also kind of a weird thing how other people experience this kind of development in their head, because as far as we know, hormone replacement therapy isn't supposed to basically change your sexual orientation at all. As far as we know, there's no evidence to support it, but we can't rule it out basically. But we don't know if it's basically the effects of hormones, whether it's an innate orientation that we have that we might kind of hidden away by our subconscious, and we just kind of allowed it out. Or for all we know, it could be just that the way that we kind of live our lives to adapt from a male to a female life, because I had to change everything about what I've known to be more female based, or basically change my male stereotypes to be more feminine stereotypes. And there's nothing wrong with basically doing that. You can be whoever you want to be. I just wanted to be like that. But stuff like the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I stand, sit, my different mannerisms, the way I potentially eat, the way I dress or am addressed, my different daily routines like makeup and stuff, the way I think, it's all changed. And that could be another thing that's kind of affected the way my mind has kind of wanted to kind of go for that kind of female stereotyping. So what might be pretty much a good thing to take away from this is that sexual orientation could completely change, and not to be written off basically, because yeah, as far as I was aware, I was a straight male, then I became a lesbian woman, and now I'm a bisexual woman. So yeah, if things like what I said, for example, with the gamete storage, and you need to potentially also think about whether you need, whether you might need a surrogate mother, basically, and just think about those potential possibilities of things like that, because you never know. Anyway, I think I'm going to end this episode off here. I hope that it's been informative, or at least a little entertaining. And I also want to say a big thank you to helping me reach the first 100 subscribers. That's insane how fast we got to 100 already. It's been less than 2 months and we already hit it. And so I'm really incredibly grateful that we've actually managed to make it that far. So thank you so much. Anyway, I've been Rebecca Markelv, and I shall hope to see you in the next episode. Take care.